thirdly, how do you make this whole process dead simple for business users? So you hear a lot about the democratization of data, but reality is that there's still a lot of innovation to be done around making it very simple for business users to tap across many different sources, both internal and external, and get to what they need to see quickly without necessarily having to rely on IT for every single one of the analysis that they need to run. And finally, what I think we all recognize and need to recognize is that in addition to the amount of data that's exploding across corporate and external sources and the need to iterate across them very quickly, the other phenomenon we see is that there are more distributed data teams around corporations, so you're not all located in one spot sitting next to each other, but you've got a lot of people across many different regions in a single company that are basically trying to drive to insights across the same data set. And how do you actually make it easy for these teams to work collaboratively to actually arrive at an insight and run through an analysis? So what that then leads to is the need for a very fundamental change in terms of how analysis across structured and unstructured data is done, where in the last generation, as I said, it was primarily a world of structured data, relational sources, very conclusive dashboards, which was what the old generation of BI was all about, where it was more of a, what we call a rear view mirror approach to doing an analysis. So you basically built a dashboard, you were looking at something that had already happened, and then you were possibly doing some predictive analysis on top of that. And finally, it relied on very small scale sampling of data as opposed to being able to look at the whole data set. So where things are going and where we really need to move is a place where users can actually now get data from any variety of sources, both your corporate sources with, of course, the right permissions to get to those corporate sources, as well as readily get to and easily get to all the public data that I talked about earlier without having to know all the specifics behind every interface to every source. Be able to converge this data together to drive what we call a hypothesis-driven type of exploration. So you don't know exactly what you're going to come up with and what you're going to see, but what you have is a hunch or a hypothesis that there's data here that I need to look at that may have the answer to something that we believe is happening, but I have to get to the data to understand exactly what's happening. And in order to do that, you have to be able to converge this data together in an intelligent way, do it very quickly, iterate on it very quickly, and be able to allow users to then actually turn and augment the analysis cost. So this whole notion of changing the whole model to more of a top-down approach where you can actually access data easily, drive a hypothesis-driven exploration, and interact with the data until you reach an insight is where a lot of the new needs are as it relates to big data analysis, and one of the fundamental things that ClearStory focuses on. So in terms of forward thinking, where we believe things are going as it relates to big data analytics is the need to enable smart data convergence as you bring sources together without leaving everything to an IT person or data architect to cobble together, but rather bringing some intelligence to the sources themselves, especially when it comes to external sources, and introducing basically a new model that allows for very iterative discovery, data exploration, and fast analysis. What customers are looking for today, and those that we are working with, they want to see it quickly, they want to be able to measure results quickly, they want to be able to respond quickly, and then very quickly augment and improve on an analysis. And what that means is either you're bringing more data into the mix, or you're improving upon the analysis with the data that you've already pulled in to actually drive to the insight that you're after. This is really a cycle of, a continuous cycle of finding the right data, combining it in an intelligent way, and then continually refining it till you get to an insight. So the notion of find, combine, refine is a constant cycle, and the new tools and what ClearStory is doing is exactly this, to allow you to actually get to an insight in a more iterative manner than you could before.